Oh, don't even talk to me until I've had my tech news. Mostly because I would have nothing to say. Without that, it's basically empty up here. Intel really wants you to know that they have not solved the instability issue with their high-end CPUs. Oh, thank you. Last week, Igor's lab published a report allegedly quoting confidential Intel documents. Those documents said the root cause of the instability is a bug in the microcode for ETVB, which is an Intel Raptor Lake feature that overclocks processor cores above the maximum turbo frequency when the chip isn't facing thermal or power limits. Now, these Intel documents suggest this bug may have allowed chips to enter high performance states even when the chip was too hot to handle it. It wasn't ready. But someone had an issue with Intel's Intel. Team Blue later told Tom's Hardware that this bug is not the only problem, but rather a contributing factor. Now, this makes sense since the ETVB feature is exclusive to Core i9 processors, and Core i7 processors have also been facing instability issues. But at least the company is making progress. Intel confirmed to Tom's Hardware that they have a patch for the microcode bug that should at least help. But a full solution requires more investigation, which takes time. I mean, not everyone can crack a case like Detective Adrian Monk, protagonist of the Emmy-winning series Monk, starring Tony Shalhoub. He's the best of us. The US Department of Justice is filing a lawsuit against Adobe on a referral from the FTC. And weirdly, the fact that Premiere can't seem to go 5 minutes without crashing didn't factor into the decision at all. The lawsuit alleges that Adobe has harmed consumers by enrolling them in their annual paid monthly subscription plan by default without adequately disclosing that customers are agreeing to a year-long commitment. Adobe also doesn't make it clear that, should you become concerned with said commitment and want to end it early, it comes with a cancellation fee of hundreds of dollars. According to the FTC's filing, this early termination fee is only clearly disclosed once subscribers actually try to cancel, which sounds less like a service and more like an extortion racket. Thus, the lawsuit. The FTC even called out the delays and resistance consumers have reported facing when contacting customer service directly. So hopefully that means the next company to face the FTC is every other company with a customer service department. Except ours, LTDstore.com. I legally have to say that. AMD is getting called out for publishing incredibly misleading benchmarks for some of its new CPUs. Although new is a relative term, AMD announced new Ryzen 5000 CPUs alongside the arguably newer Ryzen 9000 series of chips. Now, AMD's benchmarks showed their newly announced Ryzen 7 5800 XT beating Intel's last gen Core i5-13600K, while their similarly new with an asterisk Ryzen 9 5900 XT was shown beating the Core i7-13700K. Hardware Unboxed had something to say about this during a Q&A video after a fan going by Lech brought up that the GPU AMD used for these tests was a underpowered Radeon RX 6600. Now, by doing this, AMD made the performance bottleneck the GPU, not the CPU. And since AMD processors work better with AMD graphics cards, the new Zen 3 chips looked better than Intel's more recent 13th gen. Now, to be fair, Intel is getting a little taste of their own medicine here. They're also a fan of misleading benchmarks. The company famously tried to argue that third-party benchmarks don't represent real-world desktop usage, using data they gathered from notebook users. More recently, Team Blue was also accused of artificially inflating benchmark results for its Xeon server processors. So moral of the story here, trust no one, never leave your house, or just wait for independent reviews, that's better. My advice, you should also wait for me to finish telling you about our sponsor, Jawa. They make getting rid of your old graphics card easy by just buying it off you themselves. All you gotta do is go through the steps on their site to get an instant quote and a free shipping label. Most sellers will get paid within 1 business day after Jawa receives the part. That's quick! And if you're looking to upgrade your graphics card, find big savings on their marketplace of cards from users just like you. They love the things you love. Each card is carefully inspected and quality checked to make sure they're in working condition, and it's not just graphics cards. Jawa makes it easy to sell your old rig or buy one from an experienced builder. So, check them out using the link below. Ah, you must be here for the quick bits. I swear I just had them. 1 second. Oh, they're in my other pants. Proton, the company that asked the question, what if Google didn't want to suck up all your data? Has announced it's transitioning to a non-profit foundational structure. This new Proton Foundation will own the pre-existing Proton AG Corporation. They're not the first company to do this. I mean, the most famous example is probably OpenAI, but Firefox developer Mozilla also has a for-profit subsidiary, which recently expanded with the purchase of Anonym, a startup apparently specializing in privacy-preserving advertising. Okay. There aren't any plans to introduce Anonym's tech in Mozilla's web browser yet, but you never know what the future might hold. It's like that old proverb, inside of you, there are two Firefoxes? TikTok wants to sell ads using AI-generated avatars, because of course they do. If that sentence was gonna be about anyone, of course it's TikTok. The company's Symphony digital avatars come in two flavors, stock or custom. While stock avatars are based on paid actors, custom avatars can be used to represent a specific creator or brand spokesperson, or a version of them that suddenly lost the ability to sound enthusiastic or move like an actual human being. What if that happened? That's a sci-fi movie I want to see. The custom avatars can even speak multiple languages, allowing advertisers to unsettle virtually anyone. Speaking of TikTok, now that the TikTok ban law has been passed, the US government has set its sights on another prominent Chinese company, DJI, maker of 70% of the world's drones. The House of Representatives passed the Countering CCP Drones Act on Friday. If also passed by the Senate, the bill would ban DJI drones from using FCC-allotted frequencies effectively, making their sale and operation illegal. Especially for filming aerial TikToks. That's not gonna fly. Now, both companies are being targeted due to concerns they're spying on Americans for the CCP, and wouldn't you rather use a quality American-made drone that'll spy on Americans for the White House? Hoorah! Researchers have created renewable energy using living organisms. That doesn't sound that crazy. Ever heard of a bike? What we're actually talking about here is electricity. Scientists in Canada were able to create cells containing algae that could capture electrons created during photosynthesis. Now, since the tech pulls carbon dioxide out of the air, it's not carbon neutral, it's actually better, it's carbon negative. Now, the maximum terminal voltage is only 1 volt right now, but the technology could be used to power ultra-low power devices like IoT sensors. But it raises questions like, will humans eventually worry about whether their batteries are vegan? A fun fact, they already do. Big shout out to gelatin for being in literally everything. And researchers at the University of Texas are making progress on technology that would give smartphones X-ray vision. At press time, it was unclear whether anyone had consulted mathematician Ian Malcolm. It's a real can versus should situation. Well, at least the tech isn't actually using biologically harmful X-rays, but rather wireless signals in the 200 to 400 gigahertz range. And so far, the most solid thing researchers were able to see through is a cardboard sheet. They had better luck looking through thick dust clouds and dense fog. And yeah, you may laugh, but Thomas Jane would have loved to have this tech in the 2007 horror film The Mist. Too bad he missed it. Just like how I'll miss you if you don't come back on Wednesday for more tech news. I get lonely, okay? I have needs.